So it's the end of an era, the end of the franchise era, end of the season for most cricketers in South Africa. When you're talking about provincial cricket, when you're talking about the franchise era ending with the last round of 4-day cricket games, we've got some amazing things that have happened in the women's game, the women's season ending, but there's still some games in the international cricket. Welcome to another daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedan, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And today we're going to obviously be covering all those topics that I brought to you today. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happened. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. Obviously, I took a little bit of a break over the last weekend or so just to recuperate and refresh and get, the blood boiling again and get my mind right, for the new season and for all the new things that are happening. I'm going to crown it as a new season because we're obviously going to be able to see some international cricket still going, even though franchise cricket has ended now. We don't have franchise cricket anymore. The Cobras, the Knights, the Dolphins, the Lions, all of those are not to be. The Titans, all of those are not to be anymore. And we now are going to go back to the provincial setup, 15 teams, 8 in Division A, 7 in Division B. A relegation for the first season. Obviously, we're not going to be having any relegation, so teams can just settle themselves. But it's going to be a crazy time from now leading up to the new season, with a whole lot of different transfers going to be happening. We're going to hear who's going to be moving clubs, who's going to be moving clubs. I'm talking like football. Who's going to be moving provinces? Who's going to be staying in their provinces? What is going to happen with regards to that? And we'll probably do a show dedicated to that alone. So talking about all the movement that is going to be happening across the provinces. Before we get going, guys, before we get into the main discussions, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos. So I'm also going to be talking about the Women's League, and that has obviously been going on. Were privileged enough to obviously cover it, particularly Emily. She was there to cover majority of the games. I went to the final day today to watch a dominant performance by Western Province. I also got to see some young talent, and I've obviously found my own next favorite players to back, and we all have our own favorite players to back, with the ones that stood out to us. We're going to be talking about that a little later. But let me first start off this show by talking about S Under 19. I just have to say well done to the S Under 19 team for the performances that they put in. In the 3-day competition, they really got a culture shock, particularly against Northerns in their opening game. It was something that was really a culture shock for them, scoring in the 40s, being bowled out, and then 150 odd in the second inning. So they really struggled in that one. But in the 50-over game, they've really shown what they can do and how talented they are. So they obviously beat Western Province in their first game. They lost the second game by the barest of margins. And then now, today, it was an excellent performance to get revenge against Northerns, the team that actually bowled them out for 40 plus. So what was excellent about this particular game was that there was 2 main performances, of course. 5 wickets from, I have to just look at the scorecard again, but there was some excellent performance, particularly from Brevis, who put on an excellent performance. He scored a 50. A lot of people have been likening to the likes of AB de Villiers. He even wears number 17 on his back, which is quite funny. That was excellent. I looked at him. He poses, the way he poses with his shots, especially those slog sweeps that he hit. He just posed his shot a little bit and held the pose a little bit. So a lot like AB does when he does certain things. It looks a lot like him. I'm going to try to get an interview with him. I'm going to try and get an interview with him tomorrow so that we can get an exclusive with him and talk to him about his career so far. And if he does actually look up to AB, and if that is someone that he wants to emulate, because we're not 100% sure if that's true. I'm not going to say it's true until I've obviously asked him and we hear it from the player himself. Because otherwise I'm just going to be saying things here that is maybe not true. But Hardest Kutsia was hitting the straps for them as well, with the 5 wickets through aggressive, resilient bowling from his part. So a clinical performance from South SA 19 overall. I think that's something that you have to want to see, and Shukri will be very proud of them. I will want to obviously try and get an interview with Shukri to find out what he learned from this particular excursion that he went on, I would say, in Kimberley. There was also obviously the S19 women. They didn't end the tour like they started the tour, obviously winning the series, but they were smashed in the last game, of course, not getting the performance that they would have liked at the end of the day. But there were some good performances all around from a South African perspective. From a South African perspective, the highest run scorer was Sune Lewis with 91, only by one more run, and then she did that without scoring a 50 on the tour in the T20 leg, of course. And then Lizelle Lee with 90, she obviously did get a half century, a score of 70. But Anneke Bosch needs to get some credit over here for the way she performed. 66 not out was her best score. Although in the other matches she never really came to the party. It was one particular match that really sealed the series for South Africa. So very good performance from her part and very good performance from the Proteas women in general. With the balls, Sune Lewis, Shabnam Ismail coming to the party with 4 wickets, and Anneke Bosch as well showing her all-round ability with 3 wickets as well in the tournament. So that was really good to see as well. I'm very happy about that. Talking about the franchises, I will let you guys know what's going to be happening with the transfers as soon as we know. And I will obviously update you on all of that as soon as we find out who is going where. And when we are allowed to obviously release the information, we need to find that out as well from the clubs as well. So even though the Proteas women ended the tour the way they did, I think there's a lot of positives that come out of the tour. And I don't think it's, I think it's a dominant display that they did by winning the series in as a whole. Let's talk a little bit about the Women's League. I mean, that's something that Emily obviously covered as well. So I'm going to bring her on the show so that I can have a conversation with her about it. So welcome to the show, Emily. Today, we obviously witnessed Western Province in another dominating win. How are you? How was the week in total when you look at it from a whole? I mean, there was a lot of talent on display, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Western Province, so consistent throughout the week. They started well and they ended well. So yeah, very, very good week for them. And then yeah, in terms of talent, I saw a lot of talent on display. I mean, for Province, let's start there. Sarah Smith, you know, she got knocks in every game that she played. So I think she got over 30 in every game that she played. So she contributed really well. She scored a 50 as well. Leah Jones, of course, now on the SA emerging side, the tour side, she picked up, I mean, at least 2 wickets in every game that she played. So there's positives there for Province. And then, you know, a few other players that I was really impressed by, Liz Marie Marks for Northerns, Nicoline Jansen van Rensburg as well for Northerns, both of them, you know, 18 and 19 respectively. And they just looked so comfortable at the crease, so comfortable in their run-ups and in the field. And yeah, it was really nice to see youngsters really just get out there and perform. And then also, you know, some of the teams have really young players that are not necessarily haven't necessarily played a game in the tournament or in the league, but they were in the squads. So Tabitha Lagrange, for example, she's in the Province squad. You know, who else did we see? Mona Lisa Lagodi that we saw in WSL, she's also in one of the squads. So it's really nice to see, you know, 14, 15, 16-year-olds just being in the squad as well. And then, yeah, I don't know who else was there. I think that's about it. I was impressed with those performances, yeah.
So I went today only, so I can only speak about what I saw today.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm a fan of Nicoline Jansen van Rensburg. Now, I interviewed her after the game. We did a couple of interviews, Emily, and you guys can obviously look out for those. Emily interviewed Marks, and we're going to bring out the feature on that. I did Leah Jones, I did Andre Stein, and I did Nicoline as well. So you guys must wait out for that. Sarah Smith as well, we did. So those interviews are going to come around about tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to put them out as quickly as possible. But I think that I was most impressed by Nicoline, even though she didn't score as much as she would have hoped. But her bowling, particularly the accuracy from a bowling perspective, I was very impressed with that. I was very impressed with the way she carried herself on the field and her maturity. And I think with a bat as well, very classy. She told me in an interview that she looks up to Laura Wolfart. So that's that can be seen in the game with the way she drives the ball, etc. But I think a very competitive game. Obviously, SA Emerging is coming up. So I'm really interested to see what Tanisha is going to do with her team. That's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. I was also, there's one person I was just thinking about now that I forgot to mention as well. Dami Tucker as well. She played a few really good innings with the bat, and she also bowls spin. So I was also impressed with her, and I'm excited also for the emerging side. There's a few players in the squad, not necessarily in the touring side, but in the squad that are up and coming, and I'm pretty sure they'll be in the side soon. One of those players being Liz Marie Marks. She's in the squad, so hopefully we'll see her in one of the touring sides. My favorite player.
Yeah, that is
Maybe
one of
we'll
your
see
favorite
her.
players.
Maybe we'll see her in the touring side soon. But yeah, I'm also keen to see what Tanisha's going to do with that side.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Andre Grobbelaar behind the stumps as well. I think she's improved a lot. She looked a lot more cleaner behind the stumps to the way she picked up as well. And Leah Jones as well, the way she's improved. I mean, I've watched over the last
Yeah.
year or so, just become a stronger and stronger, more confident as a player. Now she's in the emerging side, going to Bangladesh. So really excited for her. But Emily, obviously the main topic over here is going to be about the dropping of the franchises. I know that I didn't ask you to prepare anything on this one, but I know that you'll have an opinion on it. Are you happy with the new franchise, with the franchise system being dropped and 15 teams coming back again, provincial rivalries again?
Look, I definitely think it's a chance for players who didn't necessarily get to play for franchises to really just get chances to play. And I think obviously there's going to be a lot more exposure for those players. So that's a good thing. I also think like a lot more competition because there's more teams now, and people are shifting, like you said. People are moving, like you said. So I think it's going to be interesting to see those rivalries. And perhaps we'll see brothers or or family members play against each other. That's always exciting to see. But yeah, so I think it's good. I'm personally going to miss seeing the Cobras play, seeing franchises play, but I think it's good for the growth of cricket in South Africa.
The biggest thing for me is the filter system. So I call it the filter system. It's about the talent filtering into club cricket. Because there's going to be so much rivalry and so much competition for places in the franchise in the provincial setup. I think a lot of those players that were on the fringes are going to drop down to club cricket level, and it's going to increase the level of club cricket. Hopefully, that will bring sponsors to the game as well. To club cricket, a lot more sponsors, a lot more money and incentive for players to play,
Exposure.
and maybe and a lot of exposure, and maybe that will bring a lot more money in the game so that players can get paid maybe at the club level. Some people say that you're spoiling club cricket if you get salaries. I don't tend to think so. I think if there's money in the game, I think a lot more players will take cricket as a career path if they feel that they can play cricket as a life choice. If they can choose it at club level and they can make a career out of it and get a decent money from that, they'll play cricket. Everybody would want, a lot of more people would want to play cricket. Just like in club rugby, I think there are a few clubs that pay. I know in cricket there are a few clubs, but I think a lot more pay, a lot less people will just play cricket for fun, and more will take it more seriously because it's their job and it's a way of earning money. Especially people from the township that are looking for opportunities to grow and get themselves up in the rankings. But I don't know if you agree with that. Maybe you think that club cricketers shouldn't get paid.
Look, I think whatever the choice is, it needs to be consistent, and whatever the decision is. So if you're going to say, okay, let's pay our club cricketers, then all the clubs need to be paid. All the people that play for all the clubs need to be paid. It can't just be, certain clubs or clubs that are just in the top league, not in the bottom league. So yeah, if you're going to make a decision for club players to get paid, then everyone needs to. Unless, I mean, if you can't agree on that, then no one should get paid. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But we're looking forward to the Pakistan series coming very, very soon. We're also working hard on the next issue of the magazine. So with regards to the Pakistan series, I hope they're going to give people opportunities. I mean, I want to see the likes of obviously Kyle get more games, George get more games, Bjorn Fortuin get more games. A lot of the guys that are on, Lizard Williams, Sander Magala, Vian Lubbe, I hope they get a run. I mean, I was talking today with, funny enough, I can learn from Andre Steyn over here because I spoke to her about it, and we looking for, South Africa's looking for that number 6 finisher. That's someone that they're looking for in the national men's setup. And Andres was talking to me about how she's learned how to become a finisher in the game. So guys, please check that interview out tomorrow. I will put it up tomorrow. She speaks about what she does and how she approaches it to learn, to add that side of her game, that side of the game into her particular playing style, because she's a very good stroke player of the ball. Now, that's something that maybe someone like Calverena can add to his game. Perhaps he's not necessarily the biggest lad or biggest guy, but he can clear the boundary. But if he can add that big
Yeah.
hitting capabilities in his game, it will just take his game to the next level. I mean, looking for that number 6, that number 6
Yeah.
finisher in the team. They turned to the likes of Christian Jonker in the past, John Smuts, maybe Piet van Biljon. They turned towards David Miller to do that job for him. I think David should take more responsibility, maybe bat up the order. All of those things that they were talking about. We got a comment over here from a guy. He's been commenting over here. He says, Khalid, I remember you said that an experienced player spending an extended time on the sidelines is totally counterproductive. And I do think so. I think if you're going to take an experienced player with, he must play. You can't take an experienced player with and just not play them. That doesn't make sense to me. Because if you pick an experienced player, you believe that he's good enough to start games. That's my understanding of everything when it comes to that. So why pick a person and an experienced guy of 30 plus and then you don't play him? That's my concern about certain players, that they do that with some players. But Emily, any final saying before we say bye to the fans?
I think just what you're saying now. I mean, if you have an experienced player in the squad, in the team, you want him there to do a specific thing. So, and you're relying on that person to do that job. So, if, like you say, if he's there but he's just on the sidelines, then it is counterproductive in my opinion too. Yeah.
Boom. So guys, we're back again with daily shows. We're going to be bringing you daily shows every single day as per usual. Obviously, don't forget the Offside Maiden show on a Thursday as well. Tell all your friends and families to subscribe to the channel, like page, etc., etc. We want all your help with regards to that. Don't forget to download the latest issue of the magazine and subscribe to the magazine. 100% free. Link is on the screen and in the description. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. We have the SA Under 19 report. We've got Emily's wraps of the women's games as well. We've got so many features coming out this week, so keep an eye out for that. Also become a Patreon. Go ahead to the Patreon account. Link is on the screen and in the description as well. And if you guys have a business and you look to make sales online, even if your business is offline, we can help you out. There's a link that's going to be in the description for you guys to click on. Just follow that, download the free guide. It's absolutely will help you do everything that you need to do. All the information will be there. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care, everyone.